Welcome to Deep Thought. Stay calm amid the storm. I'm going to share an interesting tidbit about me. When there's a storm outside, like a serious thunderstorm, and it's raining and wind blowing, howling and everything, big old houses flying through the air on its way to Oz, and, you see a cow flying through and, the Wicked Witch. And whenever there's a storm like that, I'm actually extremely calm. Like peaceful calm. Like scary peaceful. It's like, oh, wow, it's a storm. It actually lowers my blood pressure. Seriously. And I thought about that, right? I was like, why is that? But then I thought about, whenever I think that, I always remember when I was in high school. And, I told people I played soccer in high school. We never rarely practiced at the school. I think we practiced at the school maybe one or two times. But we always practiced a distance away. And it was in Maryland. And I remember I went to a practice on my bike. I actually rode my bike out there. It was a good distance, but, I was young. And I remember coming back, there was a thunderstorm. Now, I'm on my bike going through this thunderstorm, and I got two flats. And I was screaming. I was cursing at the wind. I was like, no, I'm going to fight you. And I made it home and everything. Yeah. I had to get 2 new wheels, but that's another story. But I was just like, after that, whenever there's a thunderstorm or something, I was like, yeah, whatever. It's to the point, sometimes I got to fight the urge just to go stand outside in one. Seriously, I actually to this day got to fight the urge. That's how calm I got. Because, I was screaming, but after a while, I just got real calm and just rode through it. Now, I use that as a metaphor. Even though that really happened, but I use it as a metaphor for other types of storms. See, one thing about me, I get real calm when shit going to hell. When the shit hit the fan, I actually get calmer, like just automatically. And I get real peaceful. Like stuff happens and I'm like, I don't react quickly. I'll just sit there real calm and cool and just look at it. And then think about what I have to do. I wanted to share that with people for one simple reason. I want to share that because, look, we got to be real now. It's a storm out here. It's a storm. It's a storm. People are losing it. We hearing more and more about shootings. We have some unnecessary violence. People getting stuff stolen off their porches and everything. You still have violent crime. And then it's like people starving, people getting kicked out. It's a storm now. It's just straight chaos right now. Despite everything going on, even if it's happening directly to you, you got to stay calm. And it's tough. No, it's not easy. Trust me. It's a spiritual type of practice. But it can be done. It's necessary to be done. See, the thing about staying calm during a storm, you can ride out the storm. You can figure out what's happening. You can deal with the situation. Because there's no other choice but to deal with the situation. People don't realize that. It's tough. I'm going to just be real. It is tough. But you have to work on it. Not just a literal storm, but it could be in your house. I was talking with a friend of mine who's a college professor, and she was telling me all the stuff that was happening just with students in her class. Some of the stuff they're going through. And we were talking and I just said, hey, part of being a teacher, your guidance counselor too, because there was a summer job I had back in the 80s. Yeah, 1,001 jobs. And I was, it was a program where we were teaching younger people about job skills and all of that. So it was essentially being a teacher. And, just all the extras other than what we were like sharing with them was driving me crazy. It was just like, man, there's a lot to it. And indeed, just, how I like flow on here. I I remember when I worked as a manager at this government office. I mean, I spent so much time dealing with the personal issues, you know. So imagine, and this was during a relatively prosperous, peaceful time. So imagine everything now. Imagine how it's going. There's a storm out here, you know, not just with events outside of your home, but just with people you know. How many people can say they know a critical mass of people who everything is just flowing for correctly? You might know one or two, honestly. If you know one, you're blessed. If you know two, you're greatly blessed. If you know three, it's extraordinary. But for everybody else, they're going through something. You're going through some shoes. You can't even worry about it. You going through something. How many people on that job that they don't like, or they going through some drama there? How many people on the verge of being evicted? How many people, or maybe evicted or foreclosed on? How many people? That's a storm. And then you trying to work, and then, you know, even on these jobs, yeah, they talking about all these people needed on these jobs, but some people still getting fired or laid off. Some people getting light, and then you had, well, I was going to mention something about this vaccine thing. That's a storm right there. Actually, yeah, let me talk about that. You got these businesses talking about they requiring a vaccine. First of all, that's against spiritual rights. Now, let me just say real quick, please don't get into it like that on the thing, you know, or in the comments. Please don't. And the reason why, because it's deep. It's deep. It's deep. All I would say is people, that's a basic right, whether or not people want to use something. All right? But that's the point. That's still a storm. That is still a storm. And the best you can do is try to remain as calm as possible. One, because stress can upset you. Stress can raise your blood pressure. Stress can actually cause sickness. But if staying as calm, then you can solve the issue, whatever it is, or at least deal with the issue until you can fully solve it. Work to stay as calm as possible. You know, meditate, listen to some soothing music in the background, take some walks. Because there's a storm out here now. I don't know how long the storm is going to last. I don't know. You know, we look back in history, they might say, yeah, that was 1,000 years or something. They might say it's 50 years or something. They might have said, hey, some things happened. It lasted 2 years, but the storm is still there. Because you can ride out the storm. Just like I literally rode out a thunderstorm on a bicycle with 2 flat tires. You can ride out this storm, all right? Whatever, and whether it's the whole society or especially if it's personal to you, you can ride it out, okay? So that's all I had to say. I want y'all to think on this, and please stay calm. Peace and blessings.